Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to be making it up as I go along. I have no idea what to paint, so I'm just or what colours I want to use, so I'm just using what's on my palette. And as you saw just now, I have added some water to a lot of the paint on the palette, but still left some lumpy and thick, and some is quite diluted and quite pale. And now I've wet the paper, mostly the sky. I've put a bit into the land, brought it down to quite a nice low horizon, and now I'm just picking up any old mixture of neutral colour from the palette in order to create the sky. I think here it looks like there's quite a bit of Prussian blue and burnt umber, but I shall list the colours for you that were on my palette to start with in the description below. I've added a bit of water so that the colour peters out a bit towards the bottom, so it's a graded wash. To stop it from running down too much and completely running away off the page, I've turned it round, and now hopefully it will dry a bit flatter, more of a sort of a flat, gentle wash. And a clean damp brush just to soak up and get rid of that bead of water where it had been running down. It'll dry a lot lighter than that, and even though I love pale washes, I think this is a bit too pale, so I'm just scrubbing up some more paint from the palette, and I'm just going to try and get a slightly darker area in the top. It's all still, the paper is all still wet, it's still got a good sheen on it, so I'm just playing around with it, and that's what you can do, any direction that you want the brush strokes to go in. I mean, it will soften down quite a lot, but while it's wet you can do this just to maybe get a little bit more character into the wash. I've cleaned my brush out completely now, and I've squeezed all the water out, and I'm just going to try and straighten up the horizon a bit, but I still want to keep some of the white that's left in that area, because I like the look of that. And even though at this point I've got no idea what I want to paint from this, I think that straight line across there will give me more options when I come to decide what to do with the wash. Right, hello, it's the next day today, Saturday, and I'm just looking at the wash, completely dry, and I really like the softness of it. I think it's going to be lovely to work on. I think it could be taken in either direction, either landscape or seascape. But I've been doing a lot of seascapes at the moment, and for some reason I find them quite relaxing and comforting during these difficult times. So I think I'm going to plump for a seascape. Right, one vital ingredient, nice cup of strong espresso coffee. Right, I'm using a number 12 round sable brush just to put in some headlands. This brush has got a lovely point, so even though it's difficult to paint around the camera, I can get some reasonably fine lines and straightish lines across the horizon area. I'm just going to use the brush damp just to run it here and there across the headland, just to, if you watch now, just to give myself some soft and hard edges. I don't want the whole thing soft, I want there to be sort of a mixture, even though it's very faint in the distance. And you can just carefully soften back even further if you need to, just with a little bit of tissue and just gentle dabbing until you feel it's looking right. I'm leaving a pale band between the headlands and the foreground of unpainted pale grey, and now I'm taking another layer of the same sort of pale palette grey, and I'm just going to use the number 12 round to start with, just to get in some shapes and shadows and suggestions of the land that's coming towards us, maybe sort of a sandy beach, low tide, something like that. as I say, I'm making this up as I go along, and I'm just trying to look at how it looks as I'm painting it and then think, how can I improve on that, or what does that look like? If it looks like a sand dune, then I'll go with a sand dune. If it looks like a watery pool, I'll go with that. So that's what I mean about looking for the opportunities. And you can charge in some slightly darker areas of paint here and there so that you keep some variation in tone to those areas of pale landscaping. Now I'm picking up some dilute yellow ochre and just charging that into the wet lines of paint, so you can see that that's softly diffusing into those dunes as well. I thought I was filming here, but I wasn't, so you've just missed a few seconds of me dabbing on some quite strong yellow ochre in a sort of a diagonal downward shape in order to start building up a stronger foreground. And while that's wet, I'm putting in some darker colours of the sort of Prussian blue and burnt umbery, Paynes grey sort of mix that's left on the palette. Again, I'm at that stage of the foreground where really now it's just tweaking and balancing, and there isn't an exact science to it. Your painting will be different, so for you it'll be up to you just to decide where you want darker paint, or maybe to dab some out, or to maybe have some dry brush, or whatever you think will enhance the painting. Right, I'm going to take the card and just see if we can suggest rocks, stones, maybe tussocks of grass to enhance with the rigger in a bit, all to kind of indicate the edge of the beach where there's grasses and plants growing, stragglers and stones and pebbles and sandy patches, just as we walk down across the sand dunes. Now once I've done that, I'll wash across a couple of bits just with some fairly dilute paint, just to kind of bring that area all together again. Try and keep it simple, as simple as you can, without it being too plain. You want some variety in there. Now it's virtually dry, so I'm going to now use the rigger and come in with the various colours that I've used already, and just put in some grasses, like blowing from the left to the, bending from the left to the right, so it looks like they've been blown by the wind, because these sorts of beaches are usually quite windy places. I'm just bringing them out from where I think that they would look good, from where my rocks are and things like that. I remember this painting hasn't really been planned, so however your painting turns out, just have a look at it and decide what will be the best position for your grasses to be and which direction they should blow in. You may find that your beach maybe needs them blowing in a different direction. And I'm going to do some over this side as well, because I think that diagonal band is quite a strong part of the composition that leads us up into the rest of the painting. Just some slightly darker grasses now. Right, got my number one rigger, and I'm just going to finish it off now with a single bird, flicking the brush off towards the end of the stroke to try and get that look of the bird and the wings tapering. Just going to darken up the left wing just underneath. Just that single bird flying free over the beach makes me feel very happy. So that's it. I've finished the painting. I'm very happy with it, the way it's turned out. It's quite a gentle painting. We do have some nice contrast, I think, with the bird and the grasses against that sort of murky greenish grey sky, and the sand dunes that stretch back towards the misty beach in the background. Well, I hope you'll give this a try and let me know how you get on. And thanks so much for watching, and stay safe, stay happy, and you all take care, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.